Good morning students. Today we are going to learn about the chapter number 1 and the name of chapter is crop production and management of class 8 subject science. So it is the most important part for each and every country or for each and every person. Why? Because only because of the crop production and its management we get our food daily. That's why crop production and management is very important for us. So now, first, agricultural practice. What is meant by agricultural practice? Where can we take crops or where can we produce crops? Yes, obviously we can produce crops into the farm or field only. Just sowing the seeds is not taking the production of plants or not the management of crops. We have to do some most important activities for sowing the crops and other procedures. And which are the other procedures that we are going to see in this chapter. But before that, agricultural practice means what? Agricultural practice, whenever you are going to give the exam, at that time before going to the exam you prepare yourself, like you take care about your hall ticket, about your pen, pencil, pad, etc., etc. What things are necessary for the exams that you must keep with you, that is known as the preparation. Just like that, before taking the crops and for its management we have to do some practices, and that practices are known as agricultural practices. Before 10,000 BC, humans were nomadic. Nomadic means what? You already learned about this word in your SST. Nomadic means wandering here and there from one place to another place in search of food. At that time, people wanders from place to place in search of food and shelter. And what was their food? Their food was other animals. They hunt that animals and they fulfill their hunger or they fulfill their needs. But what happened after 10,000 BC? Humans understood that they can stay at a specific places for a long time without wandering one place to another place in search of food. They understood about the crops or about the farming. Then they started the farming. Now we are going to learn about the crops. Crops means what? It is the specific word for a special production of plants or taking plants into the field. Crops means what? How can we define the crops in scientific language? That is, when plants of the same kind are grown and cultivated at a same place on a large scale is called a crop. Means what? Suppose someone is going into his field and he have a limited farm, then he sows 2 or 4 seeds of maize, 2 or 4 seeds of jawar or 2 or 4 seeds of other fruit plant. Then can we say that farmer is taking crop? No. Why? Because it is not in a large quantity. When farmers sow lots of seeds into a large area, means what? Same kind of seeds are grown and cultivated. It means taking a crops. And that plants, that production is known as crops. And crops also have 2 types, in that kharif crop and rabi crop. These are the 2 types of crops in our India, which is taken by the farmers. So how will we define Kharif crops? If we want to define the Kharif crop, then the crop which are sown in the rainy season are called Kharif crops. When the monsoon is started, at that time farmers sow some seeds into their fields. That crops which are growing from June to September. The time period of Kharif crop is June to September. Now you can count the months: June, July, August, September. Means into these 4 months farmers takes specific crops in his field. That crops are known as Kharif crops. And what is the time period for that crops? The time period for that crops is June to September. It means in June month monsoons season get started, and this time period, June to September time period, is good for all the crops which are grown or which are sown into the June and grown from June to September. So which are that crops which is taken in this season? We can say some examples. Paddy. Paddy means what? What is meant by paddy? Paddy means rice, which is taken into the monsoon season. It needs lot of water. That's why it is known as, rice is known as paddy. Another one, maize. Maize, then soybean, then groundnut and cotton, and etc. Other crops also taken into the Kharif crop. So these are the crops which are grown and sown by the farmers from June to September. That crops are known as Kharif crops. Now we will look Rabi crop. Rabi crop means what? It also have a specific time period and specific environment. That environment is good for different type of plants. The crops which are taken or which are sown in winter season are called Rabi crops. It means from October to March. This is the time period for Rabi crops. And it is your homework that you have to ask some questions to your parents or your grandparents which crops are taken into the October to March. If you ask them which crops are taken into the October to March, they cannot say. But if you ask them about Rabi crops, then they will tell you a lot of information about the plants which are taken into the October to March period. That are known as Rabi crops, and it is your homework that you have to find which crops are taken from October to March, means Rabi crops. And then basic practice of crop production. Just like at the starting I told you about the exam, about the preparation of exam, just like that before sowing some seeds we have to do lots of practice in the field or on the farm. And which are that practices are for the for production of crops are: number 1, preparation of soil, sowing, adding manure and fertilizers, irrigation, protecting from the weeds, and harvesting, and lastly storage. All these procedures, all these practices comes under the basic practice of crop production. We will discuss in deep about these practices into the next period. But some new words are here, like adding manure. You already know about the manure, which is very healthy for the soil of crop production, and fertilizers which helps to the plants grow healthy, and irrigation means watering to the plants, means giving water, means providing water to the plants, and protecting from the weeds. What are the weeds? What is meant by weeds? Weeds means the plants which grow with our crops which are unwanted. In simple words, we can say the unwanted plants of the into the crops are called weeds. Then harvesting and storage. We will discuss about this into the next period.